Yeah, Justin Harris. And the name of the company is I Am Coach Justin. Can be for any platform, no matter where you're at. And then in terms of working with me, it's one of those things that generally I work with either companies or entrepreneurs trying to get off the ground. But like with that, it's just usually we figure out where that person's at. But right now, my focus has mostly been this challenge and offering free value. So I can give people templates. I can give people a roadmap.
Hey, it's Kellen, and today on Diversified Game, we love to talk money. That's what we do here in Diversified Game, to show you how entrepreneurs started, sustained, and succeeded in business through that journey wherever they are at. And today I have Justin Harris, who he's going to explain, and the links will be in the description box, you guys. I am CoachJustin.com. Check out that website while you listen, or for those who watch, and we want more of you to watch. We love the listeners, but feel free to watch, but just get the game. He's going to give it to us. Visit his website during, after, or maybe prior. You need to get the game on his site to understand and follow. But Justin, welcome to the show. How you doing today, brother?
Doing well, doing well. Another beautiful day.
Awesome. Well, man, let's jump into what this, new project is. We can go back to the past, but I want you to get out for the people in the first couple minutes. What's the new project and how can it benefit the masses?
Yeah, the new project is to generate $1 million in 1 year. So I think the big thing with this project is we can all push ourselves. We can all say, what can we do more of? But it's sometimes that fear. And I think for myself included, I wanted to put it out there and show how I'm going to push myself to try and generate $1 million in 1 year by building a business, multiple businesses, and help share that journey so people can replicate it, but they can also see my mistakes, right? Because already getting started on this journey, I've already made some mistakes where I'm like, oh man, I got to document this and be honest with people. Sometimes we'll do things we shouldn't do, and you'll waste money. So it's definitely one of those things that I want to drive people to believe in themselves and get over that fear, to know that they can make money and they can make money to change not only themselves, but their families' lives.
Now, I want you to even go into more detail because, you being in LA, born and raised, I'm thinking, wait, hold on. Is Justin trying to follow Grant Cardone and get on whatever it takes and, show us, is this the remix? Is this the pilot? So, how does that journey look like? And, is it something where people can invest in, or are they just following your plan in, hopes of making that 1 million?
Yeah, no, and that's a very good point. And I'm not going to go full Grant Cardone. For this is really following the journey, so you can learn from the journey. And as I go along and make mistakes, or as I come up with a great way of doing things, I'm documenting it, but then also sharing it. So if someone wants to build a sustainable business, because that's the goal, is to build sustainable businesses or a business during this period of time, they can replicate it in a different industry, same industry, and use it as a platform to launch themselves. So I think it's really more of, I want people to follow the journey, but learn from the journey, and then use what I'm sharing so they can build it themselves. Because I don't want to do the whole LA thing. I want this to be real.
Man, and like Kendrick said, give me something real, give me some stretch marks. Nowadays, what is real? Especially when you're talking about here in South Florida or LA. I mean, everything is just so, it's like Instagram land. And so what type of business, how would entrepreneurs be making this money? And can they be new entrepreneurs? Because there's so many things in entrepreneurship, but do you need seasoned people?
No, and this is the great thing about it, because I do think one of the things that I'm trying to do myself is I'm starting this from day one, January 1st, I started, and I'm like, okay, let's get this going. Let's figure out, how do you validate an idea? How do you find an idea? What can the idea be? And I'm looking at service-based ideas of like starting a traditional business, lawn mowing to plumbing, or is it an online business like e-commerce or drop shipping, or is it software? So I'm looking at the gamut of ideas. So the great thing is people can look and say, oh, wow, I can start any sort of idea to build an income and to build my future. So the great thing about it is I'm looking at all areas of ideas as a platform for people to copy and mimic.
Okay, so ideas, you're open, and you are then, it's like the coach aspect. You are gonna, kind of coach, possibly mentor the folks throughout whatever journey they choose. Is that correct?
Yeah, and the way this is going, and it's been great also at the early stages, is I've been sharing that right now I'm validating ideas and researching ideas. I'm putting together templates that people can use to research an idea. Because first thing that somebody does is usually say, all right, let me buy this product or let me buy this and start a business. But sometimes it's important to just research. Is anyone going to buy that product, right? Like, because a lot of times it's like, all right, well, I want to sell this t-shirt. Great, but how many other brands are doing that t-shirt? What makes your t-shirt unique? What makes your brand unique before you go dump money into it? So I'm really showing the process of researching first, seeing if the idea is viable, seeing the next steps to take, and then that way they can take the templates that I'm putting out there and do it themselves. So I'm hoping to save some people some money before they go spend it on the product to make sure they can sell it, right? Because if you can't sell your product, I mean, the best products sometimes don't even sell, right? Whereas some products that aren't as good do because it's got branding, it's got marketing, it's got distribution, you know? So I'm trying to make sure to educate people the steps to take before they go spend on buying a product or starting a business, which can be costly.
And you had mentioned, hey, lawn mowing, and somebody would say you can't make $1 million off that. But let me just say, there are people who are doing it. Steve Harvey has talked about it. There's also a recent interview with Danielle Pierce, who's been a guest on our show that many might remember. She was just in Black Enterprise for making $1 million in, for her property preservation and her teaching that. So you definitely can make $1 million in lawn mowing. I don't want people to think, oh, Justin is just trying to sell us a dream because like the pastor who's talking to people and saying, hey, stop that foolishness. And he's really, you could do it. Now a lot of folks will say, why should Justin be my coach? Tell me, especially us want to know how much money you got. So what type of car do you have? Where are you living, in Calabasas or Hollywood, which Hollywood is a dump for those who don't know, but Justin gets it. So yeah, give the people some of your background and resume.
Yeah, no, and definitely. And one point on that, Kellen, too, and I love how you're just helping people with that because gardening is about 40 plus $billion industry. So that's a lot of money flowing through that, right? Like, so you're giving people real education and real knowledge and help to support them. So thanks, big shout out to you on that, Kellen, because I think that's important. Sometimes people forget gardening. You go outside, if you see grass, that's got to be cut. If you see grass, that's got to be watered. There's maintenance with it. Grass ain't cheap, so it's like it's always needs love. So that's why it's a good business. And going into who I am and my background, so I've been an entrepreneur before. I've worked in the corporate route and the startup realm, and the great thing with that is it's taught me so much. And I've had those salary jobs, and I've had those jobs where I've been able to build income. But one of the things that I really want to build is more of a freedom for myself. So that's why I'm working on what I'm doing. So I'm out here in LA. I'm in the Santa Monica area. So I'm right there by the coast. So I'm not living too bad. So I've made a good name for myself and a good living for myself, but it's about creating freedom for myself that I think is more important right here, for freedom from my time. So right now I get to choose my hours, when I work, how I work. And I think that is just so invaluable to me. But the corporate route, I will say, I can't knock it. It pays you well, but it puts you on a different path to freedom though.
No, definitely. I mean, nothing is bad about where you're living except the tax. Gavin
Oh,
Newsom, do something about that tax.
whew, yeah. Parts a lot of a decent amount of my check I don't see. It disappears before I even gets to my hand.
Yeah. So that's the only thing. That's why Joe Rogan left. The more that you make, the more they take. So that is a great thing in the resume, but also tell the folks, because folks will say, well, did he just kind of just, one of these guys, he hit big on a company, but you have some education behind you. I mean, you stay in school, whatnot, you got a couple of masters and even different certifications. So let the people know so they can kind of know how your mind thinks.
Yeah, and I think one of the most valuable things we can do as people is educate ourselves, right? Because that's something that can't be taken away from you. I always remember growing up with my mom, they can take other things away from you, but they can't take your education and your knowledge, right? So I think for me, it was one of those things that being impactful in our family is you got to go to school. We need you to go to college. And I was like, I'm not sure if I want to do it, but it was one of the best things that I did do and the actions I did take. So I got an undergraduate degree in leadership and communications. After that, I got a master's in communications, and that teaches you a lot about how to resonate with people, how to connect with people. And then years later, I was like, I want to learn more about business. I know the street side of business because I taught myself. It was more of a self-taught thing, some classes, but I was like, let me start a business. Let me do my own thing. And then I was like, I want to formalize some of those skills so I understand things a little bit more, understand the numbers more, understand the details more of a business. And that's when I got an MBA as well. So it's one of those things that my educational background took a period of time to come all together, but I really wanted to educate myself because that's something that can't be taken from me, and it stays with me.
And so now we've proven that you have the knowledge even through education. And some folks will then say, okay, he has the education, he has the business experience as an entrepreneur, but the haters don't stop and we just kill the haters. But when you say the street side, give them the game on the street side, because you are no, softy, the LA streets, and so you can handle yourself in the boardroom or in the streets. If you can kind of give even that background that really drives you, so people know that it just wasn't a hey, here's some money to go to school. You really had to get it through those bumps and those bruises.
Yeah, 100%. And I think one of those things too is I had to work while I was in college to help pay for things. And I still, it's one of those things I still look at it and I'm like, man, I could have probably had a different experience if I was one of those kids who didn't have to work. It might have been different, but like I was working, and while I was working, I was like, you know what? I can make even more money if I also have a business as well. So on top of everything, what I've done is when people talk about side hustles, that's been something I've been doing since I was in high school, middle school. So like for me, it's like the kid on the playground who's like, hey, what can I do to make some money here? And I think one of the first things that I did and sold was shoes. Because I had a shoe addiction when I was young. I was like, I got to get me some shoes. Moms didn't understand that allowance did not afford getting a pair of J's. I was like, what? How am I supposed to buy this? I was like, I can get some shoelaces. So to be able to afford your habit, you have to do things. But one of the things I noticed, and kids today, you're lucky to go get shoe drops. You can hire someone to stand in line. You can do it online. You can go to an app. Back in the day, you had to get in line, or you have to find a connect or somebody. So like one of the things I realized is I can get connects who can get me shoes and maybe give me a few pair because they didn't limit as much. You can be, a few people can get them. I take that and I flip it. So one of my first ventures was taking shoes, taking the new releases, get myself a pair, and that one pair would be paid for by the other pair. And I was like, man, this is good. Because then my mom was like, wait, I don't remember buying you those shoes. I was like, yeah, no, it's me. I'm good. So it's just like, that was one of my first forays. And then another thing that I did as well, since I think what clothing and fashion is also a passion too, is a backpack line. There is a period of time where I was like, I can't find a backpack that I like. So what I did, and what I was talking about earlier, is I researched how to make a backpack, went on YouTube, started watching videos. I was like, all right, I tried to put some things together, couldn't sew. So I was like, let me find someone. Reach out to people, found people in LA in the garment district. They're like, I can hook you up, make you a sample. Let's do this. I was able to make a backpack line, sell that backpack line, and make some good income off that as well. So it's just one of those things of research helps you put yourself out there and generate cash pretty quickly.
And so, what stopped or helped you, coming up in the Cali streets? I think we're about around the same age, and the Cali streets have a lot of temptation. And so you decided to, sell shoes where others say, well, let me take nicks and quarter keys and flip it, especially if you had any, like, if you were in the 80s in California where you just saw, things just change, but we thought it was normal. And then the 90s wasn't any better. How did your mind say, I'm going to do these shoes and not this? Because there's a kid listening right now who's in between. Like, I see my guy, he spent 500 and he's flipped it, but you could take that same 500. Shoes sell just like drugs, clothing sells like drugs, and jewelry sells, and you got creative with the backpacks. So instead of putting, taking the stems and seeds out, you put the backpacks together. Like, how did that come about with so much temptation?
I think one of the things that came about is I took a step back and I was like, where I'm at and right now doesn't need to be where I'm going to be in a few years or in a few months. So I was like, all right, I got to make a change. I got to look what this looks like. Right. And I was like, when I look, if I go to a store, there's a backpack there. When I go to a store, there's shoes there. When I go to a store, there's a product there. Somebody's going to buy that product. So if I want to be the person that controls that, I got to be the person on the shelf. I gotta be the person producing the product. So that's what, just a light bulb went off. I was like, if you control the product, there you go. You control things, because then people purchase from you versus you being the consumer. So I was like, all right, let's do that. And then when I looked and walked around, I mean, with school kids, with even adults, like going places and putting things in their backpack, backpacks are just everywhere. I'm seeing it. People carry something, like women carry purses, some women will carry backpacks, but then a lot of guys with backpacks. I'm like, man, I'm seeing this everywhere. So I was like, this is an opportunity here to do something that's a little bit different. And I was like, let's go for it. Let's try it out. And I was like, if I fail, you know what? I learned. And once I learn, I can do it better the next time.
Thank you for that. I know somebody's listening like, why is he stressing this point? But they don't, if you're not in California or a big city like that, you sometimes don't understand. You don't have to be in the hood to be tempted. There's plenty of people who are great backgrounds, all colors, and they just go that other way. And here you are creating. And we saw the transformation with, Nipsey, may he rest in peace, for, where he was like, I could use that same intelligence, that same drive, that same struggle. And that's something you don't hear every day. So I just want people to like share that with a young person and say, I see you. I see what you're watching. I see what you're listening to. You don't have to go that route. Tell the folks, your other businesses, and what type of business are they still going? If not, did you sell them? And just the journey with that.
Yeah, and one of the things that's been interesting too with kind of my journey is a lot of times, like before, when I initially got started, I didn't have the full understanding of business, right? I had the understanding of side hustles, make money, generate money, but I didn't really understand the foundation of that you can turn it into a business, a full-fledged business. So a lot of those early businesses, I just generated cash. It was just more about generating cash, generating money, so I can enjoy my lifestyle, I can have a good life. And then I got to a point where I realized you can turn this into actual company. And one of my first businesses that was turned into more of an official company was a software business, because I just saw all the technology, and that we're always on our phones. I was like, okay, there's opportunity here. So I got a start in the technology industry at a startup. And then after that, I learned, and I was like, okay, I think I can create an app, or I can outsource someone creating an app. And I was able to work on a social media analytics tool, and that tool went well. And it's one of those things that it went well. We built it, and they were able to exit it. So that was a great thing. That was a good part of my journey too, of being able to build an idea from just up here with a business partner and a team to take it to exit. And I think it's one of those things that sometimes we think, oh, I need to be a coder. I don't know how to code. I started to learn how to code, but I was like, man, these dudes knew what they're doing. So I was like, yeah, let me find somebody else. And we got a team around us, and it really built off of that. So for that business, I exited. And then some of the other ones, like I said, I just generated cash from them. They were cash-based businesses. It was just more to be able to buy a phone, be able to buy a computer, be able to pay a mortgage, pay a rent. Like it was cash generating businesses. But my mindset flipped in the past few years, where I'm like, you know what? You can build a business to exit it. Because before, younger me and family growing up, you don't think about those things. You think about cash generation versus, hey, you can build a business that can sustain, a business that can exit. And that's just a real good mindset for people to think about, is how do you want to build your business, to exit or generate cash? What does that look like?
And for those who say, well, exit, what do you mean exit? That means he got paid a good amount of money for his company so he can go do something else and take that money, invest. Maybe they kept him on as, a consultant or advisor, but you get certain different type of connections. And I tell people, you don't have to be special for that to happen. You just have to be able to solve a problem, like all the good books, say all of the good books solve a problem, and somebody, may want to invest and then buy you out, and you may not be that passionate. So, that's a great thing. At one time, all of us thought we were going to have to learn how to code. So what part was it? I just got to go down this, that you're like, nah, this ain't for me. I'm not going to be sitting in front of this computer doing this all day.
Well, I tried to give it a good go. Let me tell you. I bought one of those thick old books because this is a while back, one of those like coding for dummies, and I felt like a dummy because I was opening and I was like, what is this? What are they saying? And then I found like an online program or so, and I was like trying to do it. I got started and I did a little of the front end stuff, like the HTML, CSS. I started there, and then it just got to a certain point where I was like, man, by the time I learn this, I'm gonna be 70, 80. Some kids are already gonna lap me. I won't even have an app released by the time my idea gets released. 10 apps will be in front of me. So I sat there. It was probably like a good few months where I was just trying to go at it. After work, I was just working, trying to learn how to code, and I was like getting nowhere. I barely had built. I built like a few, like a starting of a website, and I was like, this isn't gonna build an app. I'm not going to be able to do this. So I said, you know what, you have to throw in a towel sometimes with certain things in your skills. And I just realized I'm not a coder. It is not me.
Well, it's good. And I heard Mark Cuban say this recently on Earn Your Leisure, which, it's a podcast. I love what they do as well. And he was talking about not really knowing everything about AI, but it sounds like it just because he's been well versed. But, you can't do everything and you can't do it well, at least. And if you can, you'll be stressed out. So what life do you really want? Do you want to have, relationships and friendships? Or do you just want to always be working? With that, though, entrepreneurs like ourselves, we find things that, when we're having fun, like I know you're a fan of South by Southwest, and I went before was super popular as well. But like, what conferences do you go to that you find meaningful that you can, advise people to go to?
Yeah, well, I think your recommendation of South by is a great one because I definitely think that it is now. Well, obviously during these times it's a little bit tougher to attend any sort of conference or festival, but I think for me, like a lot of times for the festivals, I look for the smaller ones. I look for like as small as possible, or like you said, before it got big, right? Just because I definitely think it's one of those things that I want to be able to meet a few key people along the way. So then that way I can build those relationships. That way I can build on that relationship. So then that way we can help each other. It's mutually beneficial versus sometimes you just network with thousands and thousands of people. And I'm like, who did I even talk to? I'm losing track of who I'm talking to. And I'm trying to think of which festivals that I would say probably the best. Man, you took the words out of my mouth. The South by. I was gonna say that's a good one. There's one that I was gonna say that is good that they have in. It's actually in Canada. I'm blanking on the name right now for that one, but that's a good one. And I'll think of the name. So if we want to link that in the notes of that festival, but there's some good ones out there. But I think one of the recommendations I have is a lot of the festivals I've attended are mostly technology and entrepreneurship. So sometimes like too, it's like one of those things that like a lot of the things that are in my mind are entrepreneurship, or people trying to build a business. So I feel like for me, it's like find your niche, right? My niche is like I want to build a business, so I have to go where the business people are in technology. So if it's like fashion, I mean, go to a fashion festival so you can meet people there. So for me, it's mostly been technology as of lately, is where I've been spending time at festivals.
But technology is so vast. Like I love CES as well. I mean,
Yeah.
I love CES, and the vaccine is coming around the corner, coming around the mountain when she come. So everybody will, be able to, get vaccinated. My wife has already got her first dose, and and she's still here, folks. So thank God. So and I know other folks who have gotten it. They're still here. But CS is great because that's like in America the king of technology, unless you can afford like a Peter Demonis future is faster than you think festival, which is $15,000 a ticket. But even like toy festivals have so much tech in them, and everything has tech
Yes.
in them. And here in South Florida, the NATPE, if you like movies, there's so much tech. So I mean, you can pick one, but he's going to think about that. And I'll go from conferences and festivals to books. What have you read recently that you're like, everybody needs to read this?
A good book is called Built to Sell. And I think it's another one that unlocked a lot in me because Built to Sell is about how do you build your company to sell it, right? How do you build it so when it's time to give it to somebody else and generate some cash for that, that allows you to say, here's how I should structure it. Here's the methods to go about it. Here's the questions they're going to ask. What does that look like? Because sometimes when we're building a business, it might not be the thing you want to do for the next 50 years. It might be something that's like a few years, or you want to just protect yourself. So if you did want to leave that business, it allows you to set it up in a certain manner so you are able to exit it. Because if you don't set it up the right way, and it was interesting reading the book, I mean, it makes it tough to sell, or also too, you won't get much from it. So Built to Sell was a good one, just to get you in the mindset of how you can build a business if you want to sell it.
Okay, well, you guys, that's on Amazon, so check that out and get the game. Try to go through a book a week and watch how your life changes, whether it's audio or reading, whatever you have time for. Now, you are still young. We're all still just young. I think we're always going to stay with that. Do you have a book plan for yourself, or anything like that, book to movie, or say, I don't even want to do a book, Kellen, I just need the movie?
Oh man, I've started working on a book a little while back, and it's just definitely one of those things that I just add notes to it and kind of build on it. So I said eventually I'll get to it, but my business stuff has gotten in the way. But I take a lot of the lessons that I learned along the way, and I put that in there, life lessons and just my background, and I just throw that in there. So I mean, if I can get around to it, then it'll happen. But it's definitely one of those things that I got to get around to it. And a movie might be easier if someone wants to do it about me. I'm not sure it'll be interesting enough, but it's one of those things that would probably be easier, because someone could just talk to me and I could just have someone act as me. Then it's a lot less work than me trying to write a book. Let me tell you, I think the reason it hasn't happened is I'm just writing things, but where do I go next? It's definitely one of those things.
You're so non-LA. How can someone play you? You're in LA. Like, I gotta play myself, Steven Spielberg. I gotta play myself, Tyler Perry. Nobody can play me.
Yeah.
You wanted who to play me? Nah, no one can play me. Because everybody in LA has some headshots. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
even your doctor and dentist, hey, I'm also an actor on the side. So.
I'll be like, yo, Denzel, JD, yo, let's do this. Yo, man, like, there we go. Just make it easy,
Yeah. Denzel say, hey, son, I'm too old to play you. We got to get Michael B. Jordan or somebody to come in and get that role. But that's awesome. Now, doing business constantly, and your family, they know what you do, and maybe they listen, maybe they don't when you try to give them advice. But one thing we know from all entrepreneurs, they get hit up for money from friends and family. How do you deal with saying no or saying yes when people come and ask you, hey, can you just help me out? I got this great idea, and when I blow up, you're gonna blow up, Justin. How do you deal with that?
I'll be honest with you, that's a tough one. Because I say no, but then sometimes I feel that guilt after. But then, I mean, it's hard to be able to distribute money to everybody, right? And especially when it's family and it's like, hey, we can get there, or we can go there, friends, and they're like, yeah, trust me, we're right there. This is going to be the next thing. And I think the younger me would support that a lot more. But then I was like, man, this is an expensive habit, let me tell you. So like, it's definitely taken time for me to build up to say, hey, no, it's just not right for me right now. Just because I definitely think that, like, a lot of times I didn't think about it. It took away from what I'm trying to do. And if I can get on even more, then maybe there's a better point to do that. So I think it's taken time, but now I'm a lot better with that no. Or if it's a pressing need and something that really, really is needed, we can look at what it looks like in some sort of way. But I've learned a lesson too from my younger self of sometimes when you write that check, you might not get that check back. And it's definitely happened many a time where that check has not come back. And I'm like, you know what? It wasn't a loan. It was a grant, because I didn't get it back.
I tell people, I'm probably the last person you want to owe some money to. This is not the church where we're just giving out money. We try to be Christ-like as much as possible, but I'm coming for my money. But Kellen, that was $5.50 at 93. I know, and there's interest on it, so you really owe me now. That part of
now.
Yeah. That part of the game it's hard, especially for our friends and family in our community, because people say, well, you're doing well. And if you were to tell them, well, look, I'll give you the money because I know I'm gonna give you the money. No, I don't want you to give it to me. I want to just loan. Well, can you go get like a nonprofit that would give you the money and I'll give them the money, so at least I can claim that on my tax, because I don't think you're gonna pay me back.
Yep.
I just don't. And that's difficult. And then you become all type of, names and behind your back. And, Justin, I used to babysit him when, because how it
Oh
gets.
yeah. I remember when you were in diapers. Yeah, it's like, yeah. And so it's like, it definitely, you Kellen, you know how it is. It's like, it's tough because then people are just like, well, you didn't give it to me. It's a problem. And then I give it to you and then you don't get it back. It's a problem. So it's like, man, it's how do you win with that?
Yeah. And are you, or tell people your experience with the Clubhouse app? Majority of us are on it. If I went to go buy an iPhone once I got an invite months ago, I said, let me go get an iPhone because of who invited me. I said, I can't say no while I'm getting this mentorship. So how has the Clubhouse app impacted your life?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think Clubhouse is a great opportunity that it took me a while to get an invite. And then once I did, I was like, all right, I'm in here. But just to listen in on conversations and just really to peep in all the people that you can get access to that you normally wouldn't. And I feel like it's a very educational. There's a lot of conversations where I've gotten in there. I'm like, wow, this is really good. But I think it's early, right? So it's going to be one of those things of like even myself and yourself, like, can we build a platform on that? Like, what can we go from that? Because I feel like it feels like a new wave of just listening in, a new wave of hearing conversations. So Clubhouse has been good to just be able to connect with people and then just listen to conversations that I normally wouldn't. And I mean, I think even too, there's one where I think the Lion King did a show on there too. And I tried to get into that one and I was like, what? Lion King musical? I was like, what is this? I was like, what? Hold on. Haven't seen that, but let me see this. Let me, and then like, and they like had all of these people on there, and I'm like, it's amazing, this platform that I feel like I thought, I'll be honest, when they first announced Clubhouse, I was like, what is this? Is this even real? I thought it was like a joke and it wasn't real because I didn't get an invite because I thought it was so cool. But I was like, this isn't real. And then my friend's like, no, I got an invite. He's like, can I get one? He's like, I don't have any more. I was like, you didn't tell me? Get me in. So it took me a while to get one, but I'm like, wow, this is powerful.
And shout out to the Lion King cast. The person who invited me into Clubhouse, who's also my neighbor and a former guest as well, Rick Party, was a cast member in that, and he's one of the top DJs in the country. Over 30 markets, took over a lot of Tom Joyner's markets, and he was in that. A lot of praise and accolades from that, and he's been doing radio for over 30 years, so that says something. So Clubhouse, it's just crazy how we're connected. But have you watched Black Mirror season 3 episode 1?
I have not yet. No.
You haven't? I need you to watch that, because that's what Clubhouse is to me. We're all about the likes. We're all about the follows, what other people are saying about us. And, I've had people offer me money to get on the app, and I'm like, it's really not that serious. I know my name is Kellen Kash, but it's really not that serious. I can invite you if I have an invite, and now they're giving even more invites. It's like, here, come be part of the party, especially if you can, network, because that's what a lot of us have been missing for about a year.
Oh yeah, and I was gonna say it's crazy because I remember when I was trying to get an invite, some people were like, "Hey, $50, 75, 100." I was like, "What?" So, and then I like parts of me was tempted because I was like, "Man, is it this good? I need to get in this." And but like I held myself and I was like, "Wait, hold on, let me just give it a second. Let me give it a second." And then I was able to get an invite. But at first, I was like, "Man, I gotta." What am I gonna have to do? And luckily an invite came through. But it's crazy because yeah, Kellen Cash could have been making a lot of cash because people in the early days of this were just, hey, come on, get the dollars in the door to get an invite.
Yeah, but what's crazy is if you didn't have to pay for it, why would you charge somebody else? Why be greedy? Because that type of, I mean, there's just certain type of people we don't do business with. Even
Yep.
people who want our services as consultants, I say, now we do business and do life differently. Not to say we have to do it the same, but if your character, like I do business with old mobsters when we lived in New England, I could do business with you because if you have some principle and values and some type of
Yes.
loyalty. But if you're just one of those who it's gimme, 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 you are going to be so broke. I want to run away from you. I can't do it.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And it's crazy because like, I mean, everyone who had it they got it free. They didn't have to pay. So it just became like a whole market for it, which I was like, I didn't even think that was possible. And it's just crazy to think what things can happen and where things go.
Yeah, it's going to be great until they get, a billion or whatever many billion to sell it. And then corporate's going to do what they do and mess it up like they do everything in social media because they are still in that box thinking they're cool, but they're not. What community give back are you doing or want to do in the future, because you've had success, the best is yet to come for you, you're gonna have even more success, so I know you're doing something or planning to do something.
Yeah. So previously, what I have been doing is volunteering has been a big part of my life and giving back. Used to work at Boys and Girls Club on the council there and help them raise money and be able to kind of bring in cash for the club. I've done volunteering for like a grief support and people who've lost someone in their life and used to volunteer at an organization for that. And in the future, I think the big thing as part of this challenge too is be able to give a platform for people to help their lives improve, help their families' life improve, the next generation beyond them. So I think that's why this challenge has been important to me to put out there, because even if I don't do the best job of getting to millions and millions of dollars in 1 year's time, if I get there and get halfway there and I give a blueprint for someone who maybe does not have much in their life, this is a way for me to give back with that. And then on top of it, as I go through this challenge, one of the things I want to do is coach up people, support people, help them so they can unlock a mindset, because I think like yourself, you've been successful, man. It's one of those things that like hearing your voice and hearing your story, people are like, I want to be like you. So it's really about giving people an opportunity to see the other side of what can be. So they can move out from wherever they are to where they want to go, because I think sometimes we need to see different perspectives and different things so you can believe bigger. Because I think when I was younger, I believed big, but not big enough. I didn't even think how big things can become.
Wow, I truly, people ask me because I don't know, like when people say, okay, you've made it or you're success, I don't know, like I'm still in the mud, like I'm still trying to get it. I still have things. When they said you could be whatever you want to be, I truly believe them. In the road that it took to get here, to be able to wake up and ride my bike and see the doves flying and saying, man, if I was in Texas they would shoot those things, to be able to just to have that, just that freedom to just even talk with you when I want to talk with you. That is what it's about. And it took so much, but when you're doing, are like, oh yeah, I'm the man. It's after, when we're old or, on our way out, that's when we'll say, okay, I lived a cool life, but take the limits off because God is good and he's bigger than we can imagine. So I'm just trying to be like, hey, if so-and-so said they can do it, I can do it too. And I don't think anyone's better than me, nor do I think I'm better than anybody else. I will outwork you. I will do my best. Even clients. I think for me, that's the thing as a consultant. Do you ever get that where I'm going to outwork this client? I'm going to do so much or give them so much homework, so much tasks, things they never thought of, and have them so busy where they have to keep me on retainer. I can't ever leave. I'm invaluable.
Yeah. I mean, 100%, because I do think it's one of those things that, and exactly what you said is the limits, right? Release those limits. Like, our plan for a higher power is bigger than us because our plan's here, their plan is here, right? And it's like, release those limits, And I think when I work with a client, I'm like, you're thinking so small. Let's have you think big. Put in the work, put in the homework, give them assignments and give them things to push themselves, and then see them unlock that potential, unlock that talent. And when I see that, it just gets me excited because I'm like, now they could see that they can do more because they were operating from A to C when they can go for A to Z. It's like they're like, oh wow, I didn't know this is possible. It's like what's possible is what you think up here. But when you think small, you're gonna live small. So exactly what you said, spot on.
Well, you guys have gotten the game. I want you to go check out the links in the description box. Sign up. Do not, shy away. I know you're going to go to the website. Before they even go to the website, they're going to say, but Justin, how much does it cost? Because I ain't got no money, even though they just got their stimulus check. I ain't got no money. But how much is your, not just your platform for the $1 million, but any, one-on-one consulting, initial consulting, coaching, motivation, just so they can have an idea and won't be scared to click that button, because folks are scared sometimes to just click the button and it could be free and they're like, okay, I could but is it free? Do I got to go through a funnel then? So kind of give them the game on how you work so they won't be scared.
Yeah, and then for the challenge, it's free. It's like no fee to get in the club. So it's definitely one of those things where I'm doing this challenge to really support and help build more entrepreneurship throughout multiple communities, because I think sometimes it's centered in a few specific communities, and I want to show that it can be for any platform, no matter where you're at. And then in terms of working with me, it's one of those things that generally I work with either companies or entrepreneurs trying to get off the ground. But like with that, it's just usually we figure out where that person's at. But right now, my focus has mostly been this challenge and offering free value, so I can give people templates. I can give people a roadmap without them having to worry or stress about, like you're saying, what is it going to cost? Because people are looking, am I up the funnel going to get charged? Nah, I'm giving this stuff away so people can build it. Because I think if I build this and then people can make a change in their life, then we can come back and say, hey, my business has started, but I need more help. Perfect. Now you're at the right time where I can help you, because your business is started. Your business is generating some cash. Then I can help you generate more cash versus, hey, I haven't started and I don't have the money. Well, hey, I got free resources for you so you can start here, build it up. Then we can come back and meet and I can help you once you have that income so we can go some places.
Okay, so when people they sign up, can they expect to get some documents and fill out some stuff? Because some folks will also try to take advantage and say, "Oh, I'm going to get some free services out of Justin real quick," and take up all his time and try to call him at 11:30 at night and say, "Hey, why didn't you pick up your phone?" So what can they expect after they fill that out?
Yeah. So the main thing what I'm trying to do is put the templates out there that are like PDFs or documents and things that can be downloaded and used that guide you through different parts of starting your business. So then that way I'm not getting those late night calls. And then if people do need some additional assistance or something, we can set up a call and go there. But like the main thing I'm trying to do is put it out there. It's set up. All you got to do is download. So as long as you have an email, you're good to go. It's literally the email is the easy subscribe to get to the portal to get content. And what I'm trying to do too is I'm going to drop content once a month that'll be emailed out to everyone on the list. So for this first month, it's going to be things around idea validation, idea research, and selecting an idea. So then that way it gives a person a month's time to say, hey, what do I do to find an idea? What do I do to validate an idea? How do I talk to customers? So, but yeah, all that stuff is going to be free because I'm not trying to get myself on phone calls all day, because I got this challenge to work on so I can provide more free content for everyone to build their business.
Definitely. And most entrepreneurs, especially now because Instagram is just popping and everything is just, right now flight deals are crazy. Where are your favorite places to travel?
Oh man, ooh, that's a good one. Um, let's see, if I'd have to rank some of my top places, most recent like international trip I took before all this was to Japan. Japan was awesome. Like it's a great place. I love that you can go around, get food everywhere. I love that. Accessibility to food is key to me. So I just go to a street vendor, boom, grab a snack. Go to a place, grab a snack. Japan was great. South Africa was great. Just going out there, just get to experience the culture, talk to people.
Sabona.
Yeah, there we go, man. And then I would say, man, the Caribbean is always good, and I think like Virgin Islands, Caymans, just getting down there is beautiful. Culture, people, just the water, environment, the lifestyle, taking a step back. Because sometimes in our world we're just go go go. It's nice to kind of go to a culture that takes a step back and enjoys the life that's right in front of them, and it's more present. So I would say Caribbean, Virgin Islands, and Caymans are beautiful too.
Okay, I'm gonna accuse you of loving Japan because I think you were taking some crypto and playing some gaming and they bet big in Japan with their crypto. It's just crypto to them. You're like, hey, how much money you putting up, man? I'm a Raider fan. I can't play like that. but that. But no, tell me when you say Africa, I have my Cameroon jersey on, one of the many pieces. Mr. Africa, love my African investments that I have going on, my African wife over here. What is your experience like when you got to South Africa? What was the vibe? What was the feeling? Should others go? And are you going to be going back to Africa outside of even South Africa anytime, 2021, 22?
Yeah, 100% I will. And the vibe was good. I mean, because I mean, it's one of those things that just being able to, I'm always one of those people. I like to sit and talk to people. Like whether you work at a restaurant, whether you work as a lawyer, whatever profession you have, I'm the person not to sit and talk with people. So just being able to sit down and really have honest conversations with people, history, past, all the things and the other. It was great because people were just very forthcoming with just sharing their experience, their family's experiences. So it was nice to be able to connect. And one of the things that I wanted to do, which a lot of the world events have delayed, is get back over to Africa and take more of a bigger journey in a longer period of time. So that is definitely on the slate. I'm hoping 2022, 2023, but I mean, with all this stuff going on, like hopefully soon. I want to get back on a plane. I forgot what a plane even looks like at this point. But yeah, no, I want to go back because I definitely think that I see a big opportunity to be able to help entrepreneurs in Africa because there's already a big ecosystem. There's already so much happening there. But to be able to say, hey, let's take some of these American dollars over here and deploy to really help people even more build businesses faster. Because like one of the businesses that I think was exciting to see is there's the Stripe of Africa that was exited and was able to sell. And I think like Africa is going to be the next tech epicenter very quickly here. It's just like it's waiting to explode. So I want to get in it to be able to help people, support people, but be part of that ecosystem as well. So I'm really excited for it, and I was planning to go over there and get in on the action. So hopefully soon here I'll be able to get back there.
When you went, did you go with friends, a group trip? Because a lot of folks say, "Oh, Kellen, I don't know like how to get over there," and I'm like, "Man, how did you get here? Like, are you still living on your mama's couch? Like, so what made you spark to say, you know what, South Africa, I'm gone?"
Yeah, well, two things actually that sparked it is I went with the wife, but then also too we went on a honeymoon, and I was like, I want to get over there, spend the time there, but not like a traditional honeymoon where people, oh, let's do this. I wanted to get out there. We rented a car, drove around, stopped places, got to see things, talk to people, stop at like local spots, like where some people it's like, oh, get on the tour bus, here we go. And I was like, nah, let me do this, and like it's like it's amazing when you get yourself in a car or you get yourself out there and you just stop at places, start to talk to people, start to do things. You meet people, you get to see a different perspective versus, hey, let's go to the landmark here. Let's go to the landmark there. It's a very different experience. So for me, that choice of us going there was really about being able to actually connect with people versus a traditional, hey, let's go and let's just sit and lounge. It's like, we're going to lounge a little bit, but I want to get out there and be able to talk to people and get the vibe.
What part of South Africa were you in?
So I did the garden route. So started in Port Elizabeth and went all the way to Cape Town. So literally stopped all along the way and like probably like 6, 7 cities. Just basically going to a city, stop, hang out, get to talk to people, and just made it an open route to be able to kind of work the way to Cape Town and end up there.
Okay, because when you said we got a car, one thing I don't do is drive anywhere in Africa. I thought I was good. I thought, oh man, 16 years old, I'd be in New York City, I'd go back to Cali, get my clue tapes, go back to Cali. Like, oh, I know how to drive in New York. I don't know how to drive until you can drive in a busy city. And I haven't been to Cape Town. I was in Joburg and Pretoria. And
Yeah.
Kellen, in Cameroon, I'm afraid when we're there, I'm afraid to walk sometimes because the traffic is so fast. Like, no, this is a real story. My father-in-law was my first time. He had to hold my hand, and I got little kids. He had to hold my hand. My wife had my daughters, but I was like, hey, these folks don't look like they're stopping. I'm in the zebra stripe. So, yeah, Kellen has a driver anytime he's overseas, even in the UK, trying to drive on that opposite side. I almost wrecked my friend's car. And I'm thankful she gave me an opportunity, but nah, Kellen don't drive.
Well, I'll give you the real talk because we having this good time here. I had a little hiccup. I might have hit a car or had a little swipe. It was a thing. So it's not, it wasn't all sunshine there. Definitely, the sunshine got smeared on the side of the car. So it is definitely a thing. And I realized when I was walking that the cars had the right of the way. So it's definitely something that is very different. Where I was like, oh yeah, let me go, and I was like, oh no, the car's a little far back. The car was moving, and I was like, he's not slowing down. So I had to get a sprint on multiple times. And by the end of it, I learned the car has the right of the way, not the pedestrian, because it was busy and it was popping. But it was a good exercise because I mean, LA and driving is crazy. So it's kind of like it felt kind of at home. Of the madness of the driving of stuff and cars going all over. So I was like, it's kind of like that. It's like the nutty LA drive.
Okay, but I can do America. It's just something about, man. I said they don't stop. I said I know the light changed. Okay, we're gonna do what we want to do, and it's I love being in Africa, but you have to know what kind of Africa and your surroundings that you want to be in and what you need. And I will tell you, I have so many interviews with Africans that some of them we invest in. And I even have a website called mallofafrica.africa, because once the domains for .africa opened up, I'm like, not Brian Gumble, Weather Channel. You guys know who I'm talking about. I've told you guys plenty of times, who owns the Weather Channel. I'm like him with domains. I have so many of them. Sometimes I just sit on them. And the .africa ones, GoDaddy told me they had less than 30,000 people who bought .africa domains. I said, so I'm one of like under 30,000 GoDaddy's, like from what we can tell from ICANN and everything. Yeah, but of course you can't buy a .africa from GoDaddy. So, they're giving me game, even though they don't have to. And I said, yeah, I'm going to sell some of these. Like I have Adidas.africa and different domains like that. So when Adidas is ready, and I have Jumia stock. When people told me don't buy that Jumia stock, and now that Jumia stock is almost at $40 per share when I bought it for maybe $3 or $2 or something like that. And so there's so much opportunity. I tell us we have to get on before the Chinese sell it all back to us for triple the price. And we had all the options. There's guys that I know, American guys, who can sell African real estate because they're there now, and they can sell beachfront land sometimes as low as $15,000 for, plots. So it's like, get in while you can, because America, Trump, he might be in Africa soon. He's just going to pick one of the countries like, hey, they ain't going to do me in. I'm going to be in, Mar-a-Lago, Africa, chilling, having a good time. And they'll accept them. That's the beautiful thing about Africa. It's accepting,
Yes.
So whether you're black, colored, as they say in South Africa, white, Mzungu, whatever, man, it's all good. But Justin, I appreciate you giving us the game. Thank you for sharing it. Links will be in the description box. Do you want to leave us with anything?
Yeah, I think, it's one of those things with life and our choices we make. Let's just take that next step, take the first step to get there, because I do think that with starting a business and growing your net worth and getting yourself out there, it takes the first step. And if you want to start a business, start somewhere. Start researching, start looking at an idea. If you want to level up in your career, start looking at the people who are making more money than you. What path do they take to get there? So just take the first step, because opportunity's there, just like you're saying with Africa. Opportunity's there, but if you don't take the step or get on the plane, you're not going to get that opportunity, right? So you just got to do it. So thank you for the time. This has been a pleasure.
Thank you, brother. Game over, y'all.